Guys, back with you, Andy Liddell, and we're in the same basement area, and right now we're fixing their sewage for the basement. They have a basement pump down here. Let me show you. So they have a pump in the basement. There's a pump in here, and what this does is takes all the sewage out of the basement and pumps it up to the normal sewage line. But the mistake they made, and they shouldn't have made the mistake because the builder already plumbed this. This ejector line was actually supposed to be connected to this, and the builder actually put this in for them ahead of time. So all they had to do is bring this over here. But what's happened is they did it over here because I guess they just didn't know. It had to be they just didn't know. And so what's happened is we were gone for the weekend, and as sewage comes down this main pipe here, drain, depending on how much is coming, some of it spills back into the pump. And if you could look at the ground, we had a leak here this weekend because some things were done wrong. In this pipe right here, they should have had, was called a check valve. They should have had a check valve installed, okay? And what that does, it prevents any sewage from backing up into the pump. Then they should have had a service valve, a ball valve right here as well. And this is, you're able to turn this, close this, and that way you can service, because sometimes these go bad, so you're able to shut this off temporarily and put this check valve in while you service the line. So these weren't done, as well as if you look at the, this is actually the air valve, for waste, for the poisonous gases, and this was actually supposed to be vented to outside. Okay, so hey guys, so back at this basement pump here, what we did is you saw that we had this connected earlier. I kind of did this before we started recording. So this was initially what was there. So I went ahead and cut this out, and then we made that, we put a piece in, and that way it goes straight there because we're going to reconnect this to the original sewer the way it was supposed to be done initially. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is they did have this connector right here, but I need to raise this up about 9 inches. So I'm going to put a coupling right here and then raise it up. Then we're going to go ahead and put the backflow, the check valve right here. Then right above it, we're going to put our service valve right here. And then we'll put everything back in place. So let's get started. This is a primer. This is a PVC primer that I'm using. And what this does, it preps the surface, cleans the surface to accept the PVC glue. So this is the PVC glue. So we put it on this. And then we put it on this way. Okay? Then we have our glued surface form. And you want to kind of twist it a little bit to set it in place. Keep your hand there for about, let's say about 5-10 seconds. And that way it's glued. I always like to wipe off the excess, that way it doesn't look unprofessional. Nice and neat. Then we're going to extend this about 5 or 6 inches. So right now I have some 2-inch PVC pipe, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it. So, and you just use a Sawzall or a saw to cut it. So it's about a 5-6 inches. That's all what's involved. So we have a piece of pipe here that we're going to add onto this. So here we have the extension piece that we're going to use. Putting the primer on this side. Primer on this side again.
It has a very strong smell.
It's extremely strong. High school kids don't use this normally, but don't. Then we're going to put this in here and twist it. This, just a turn. One. Put the nice clean side to the outside, that way they don't see all the extra stuff. Okay? Then what I like to do again is just wipe off the joints, and that way it looks pretty clean. Alright? Next we're going to put our check valve. This is a check valve, a backflow preventer And this prevents, if waste does come in here, it prevents it from getting into the pump and overflowing the pump. As well as when you pump the sewage out of here, you know, you still have waste in the line. So what it does, it prevents all the extra waste from coming back down here. So it stops it right here. And again, I'm kind of anal, so I like to have this stuff lined up. That way it just looks professional, looks clean. Because if you have a clean job site, everything lines up, everything looks neat, they're not going to question as much. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. Okay? Then we're going to add another piece of this. And then we'll have our service valve here. And this service valve, as I said earlier, these do go bad. So what this does, you're able to cut off the water when you need to. These things sometimes are hard to turn. You're able to cut off the water when you need to service anything down here. You can just cut it off so nothing comes back into it. All right. So I need an extra piece of pipe to go in here, about 4 or 5 inches. Again, so this goes into, let me unscrew this. So I'm not going to tighten this one yet. And the reason why, because we have to make so many adjustments at the top when we do the top. So we're going to go ahead and glue this in. Okay. And this can go in actually anyway. It can go this way. It can go this way. It doesn't really matter. But what I like to do is when this is in the off position, I read the name and I make sure that the name is facing upward. And that way, if it's in the off position, they can read exactly the manufacturer. So I'm going to put this way. Okay. Yeah, anytime you're connecting PVC to PVC, you have to use a primer and you have to use the glue. And again, this stuff is purchased and sold at Home Depot, Lowe's. You can actually get it at Walmart as well if you need to, as well as supply stores. So I just did a quick turn, keep it in place, right there. Wipe the excess off. And that way it's clean. And the reason why this is purple and this is cold is that if you have an inspection, the inspector can come in and see the purple primer, so he knows it's done right. If he doesn't see the primer, he's gonna fail you. So let me grab some other fittings. We have a regular 90 right here that has, you can connect it on both sides. Then we have a street. This is a street 45 that has, this goes into a fitting, into one or on the outside of another. All right. So we're gonna put this up here. We don't know exactly what's gonna work. So this is gonna go here. This is probably gonna go here. And then I'm gonna grab another street. I just go to Home Depot and grab as many as I can afford. And that way you're not making all these trips. So we're gonna go here. Like that. I'm just gonna see how it works. Okay, so I'm gonna cut a piece that's about 50 inches. I'll probably make it 54 just to be safe. And then I'll trim it back down. And right now, what we're gonna do, we're actually just dry fitting everything. So we're dry fitting everything, and that way we can know that it's gonna work, okay? And what I also do is I put a mark, and that way I know that once I pull it out, the joint itself, actually, so yes, about 1.5 inches. So right now it's just 1 inch. So I need to have this much actually going into the fitting itself. And I should really have a ladder in here, but it's not enough space, and that's why I'm just using this little bucket. But you should use a ladder. Do as I say and not as I do. All right, that gives me my new mark. I need to be around. So I'm going to recut this. Well, it looks like we have a pretty good cut right here. So it's going to go right through here, all the way up there. So now what we're going to do, okay, so we know as we glue it, where all this is supposed to line up. Alrighty, I'm going to glue this whole thing together first. Take your time and measure twice. Make sure everything lines up perfectly before you glue it. Because once you glue it and it's in place, and actually a tip also is that's the one joint, I'll put a number 2, number 3 by each one, and that way we know what goes where. But what I do also is I just take one off. I don't take the whole thing apart at one time. So now I know, okay, I'm doing number 2. Righty, now we're going to do the very top. I'm going to put this right here. Then we're going to turn it. Are rubber fittings, so all you do is tighten them, and it makes it a watertight seal. So it makes it easier for this to come apart later on if you need it to. And actually, so it's a good idea when you actually use glue on these fittings is to leave this open. Okay? You don't want to put too much glue on because you can seal the ball joint, and you don't want to do that. I'm actually going to do one at a time, and that way I can make sure this ball joint doesn't seal. And don't forget to line this up before you make your final connections. Thank you. As we still do this, we're going to test this ball joint. So now that we have all of our connections made, okay, we're gonna go ahead and tighten up these fittings right here. And then what we're gonna do next, we're gonna test this thing just to make sure it doesn't leak. So all you do is just, this opening right here is for a vent, which they didn't even hook up initially, but this goes in here. So we just take that out. And we're gonna fill this up with water, and we'll see how good my work was. Sometimes it takes quite a bit of water. Okay, let's put the other bucket. There we go. The pump is on. Perfect. No leaks.